The security guard's hand felt heavy on Marcus's shoulder as he was escorted from the building, the contents of his desk stuffed hastily into a cardboard box. Through the glass doors, he could see her watching, Elise Harrington, CEO of Pinnacle Innovations, her expression unreadable as their eyes met. What happened next would change everything, but first, Marcus had to lose it all. If you're feeling that pull to know what happens next, you're not alone. This story of redemption, second chances, and unexpected kindness might just be what you need today. Hit that like button if you've ever faced an unfair situation, and subscribe to catch more stories that remind us of the good still left in this world. Marcus Jenkins stared at the termination letter in his trembling hands, the words blurring before his eyes. After 5 years of dedicated service at Pinnacle Innovations, he was being fired for a mistake he hadn't made. The project failure that cost the company millions belonged to his team lead, Derek, but when accusations started flying in the emergency board meeting, Marcus had stepped forward. "I'll take responsibility," he had said, thinking of Derek's pregnant wife and their financial struggles. Marcus figured he could find another job. He had skills, experience, and determination. What he hadn't counted on was being blacklisted in the industry. 3 weeks later, Marcus sat at his kitchen table, surrounded by past due notices. His 6-year-old daughter, Lily, colored quietly nearby, humming a tune from her favorite cartoon. She didn't know they might lose their apartment next month. She didn't know her father had been skipping meals to make sure she had enough to eat. "Daddy, can we have ice cream tonight?" Lily asked, looking up with those big brown eyes that reminded him so much of her mother. "Not tonight, sweetheart," Marcus said, forcing a smile. "But how about we read an extra story at bedtime?" Since losing Emma to cancer 2 years ago, Marcus had been both mother and father to Lily. He'd balanced work and parenthood with the precision of a tightrope walker, never missing a parent-teacher conference or dance recital. Now, he felt like he was falling with no safety net. His phone buzzed with a text from his landlord, "Final notice. Payment due by Friday or eviction proceedings begin." Marcus closed his eyes, fighting back tears. He had one interview tomorrow, his 7th since being fired, at a small tech startup across town. The salary was half what he'd been making, but at this point, any job would do. The interview was going well until the inevitable question came. "And why did you leave your position at Pinnacle?" asked the hiring manager, a young man with thick-rimmed glasses. Marcus had prepared for this. "There was a project failure, and as the senior developer, I took responsibility." The manager's expression changed subtly. "Interesting. Because I heard from a friend at Pinnacle that you were fired for gross negligence that cost them the Westfield contract." Marcus felt his stomach drop. "That's not accurate." I think we've heard enough," the manager interrupted, standing up. "We'll be in touch." They wouldn't be. Marcus knew the drill by now. Outside, rain poured from a steel-gray sky. Marcus had forgotten his umbrella, but he barely noticed the water soaking through his only good suit as he trudged toward the bus stop. His phone rang, Lily's after-school program. She was running a fever and needed to be picked up. By the time they got home, Lily was burning up. Marcus gave her children's fever reducer and tucked her into bed, promising to check on her soon. Then he sat at the kitchen table and put his head in his hands. The refrigerator was nearly empty. The rent was due in 2 days. His daughter was sick, and he couldn't even afford to take her to the doctor. For the first time since Emma died, Marcus broke down completely, his shoulders shaking with silent sobs. The next morning, after a sleepless night of caring for Lily, Marcus made a desperate decision. He would swallow his pride and call Derek, ask him to tell the truth about what happened at Pinnacle. He found Derek's number and dialed, heart pounding. "Marcus?" Derek sounded surprised. "Look, man, I'm really sorry about what happened." "I need you to tell the truth, Derek," Marcus interrupted. "I can't get a job. I can't support my daughter. Please." A long pause followed. I can't do that, Marcus. I've been promoted to department head since you left. I have twins on the way now. I can't risk it. The call ended, and with it, Marcus's last hope. Lily's fever had broken, but she was still weak and pale. Marcus made her toast with the last slice of bread and promised they would go to the park when she felt better. Are you sad, Daddy? She asked, her small hand reaching for his. No, sweetheart, he lied. Just thinking. About Mommy? A little bit, he admitted. She always knew what to do when things got tough. Lily nodded solemnly. She told me angels watch over us. Maybe she'll send us one. Marcus smiled despite himself. Maybe she will. That afternoon, with Lily napping, Marcus made one last attempt at finding work. He walked into every shop, restaurant, and business in a 10-block radius, asking for any position available. By sunset, he had nothing to show for his efforts except blistered feet and a deepening sense of despair. As he passed the gleaming headquarters of Pinnacle Innovations on his way home, a bitter taste filled his mouth. Through the windows, he could see people working, living normal lives, unaware of how quickly it could all disappear. Mr. Jenkins? The voice startled him. Marcus turned to find Elise Harrington, CEO of Pinnacle, standing beside a sleek black car. He had only seen her from a distance before, at company meetings where she addressed hundreds of employees at once. Up close, she was younger than he expected, perhaps in her late 30s, with intelligent eyes and an air of quiet authority. Miss Harrington, he acknowledged stiffly, embarrassed by his worn clothes and unshaven face. I thought that was you, she said. Do you have a moment to talk? Marcus glanced at his watch. The after-school program would keep Lily for another hour. I suppose. They sat in a nearby coffee shop, an uncomfortable silence stretching between them until Elise spoke. I've been reviewing the Westfield project failure, she said directly. And I've discovered some inconsistencies in the reports. Marcus said nothing, his hands wrapped around a cup of coffee he couldn't afford but that Elise had insisted on buying. Derek Simmons was responsible for the coding error that crashed the system, wasn't he? She asked. Not you. Marcus looked up, surprised. How did you? I've been CEO for 8 years, Mr. Jenkins. I know when someone is covering for another person. Her eyes softened slightly. What I don't understand is why. Marcus sighed. His wife was pregnant with twins. They were already struggling financially. I thought I could find another job easily enough. But you haven't. It wasn't a question, but Marcus answered anyway. No. Derek's version of events seems to have spread. Elise nodded thoughtfully. I suspected as much. That's why I've been trying to find you. Find me? Marcus repeated, confused. Yes. After discovering the truth, I confronted Derek. He admitted everything but begged me not to fire him. I agreed, on one condition, that he be demoted and that we find you to make things right. Marcus stared at her, unable to process what she was saying. The problem, Elise continued, is that you seem to have disappeared. Your phone was disconnected, you moved from your previous address, and none of your former colleagues knew how to reach you. I couldn't afford to keep the phone, Marcus admitted. Or the apartment. Something flickered in Elise's eyes, surprise, perhaps, or concern. Where are you living now? A small place across town. It's temporary. He didn't mention that temporary would become nowhere in 2 days when the eviction notice took effect. Elise studied him for a long moment. Mr. Jenkins, Marcus, I'd like to offer you your job back, with a promotion and back pay for the weeks you've been unemployed. Marcus felt dizzy. Why would you do that? Because Pinnacle needs people with integrity, not just technical skills. Taking responsibility for someone else's mistake to protect them shows a character that's rare in our industry. She leaned forward. But more than that, I know what it's like to struggle. 15 years ago, I was a single mother working 3 jobs to make ends meet. For the first time in weeks, Marcus felt a flicker of hope. But then reality crashed back. I appreciate the offer, Ms. Harrington, but I can't come back to work with Derek. Not after what he did. Elise nodded as if she had expected this. I understand. That's why I have an alternative proposal. She slid a business card across the table. Come with me to Horizon Technologies. It's a new subsidiary I'm launching next month. I need a technical director who understands both the human and technical sides of the business. Marcus stared at the card, then back at Elise. I don't understand. Sometimes life gives us second chances, Marcus. Sometimes we have to take them, even when pride tells us not to. She stood, gathering her coat. Think about it. Call me tomorrow. As she walked away, Marcus noticed she had left an envelope on the table. Inside was a check for $5,000 with a note, advance on your signing bonus. For emergencies. Marcus sat there long after she had gone, the check in his hand feeling like both a lifeline and a test. That night, after tucking Lily into bed, Marcus sat on his threadbare couch and made the hardest phone call of his life. Miss Harrington? It's Marcus Jenkins. I'd like to accept your offer. 2 weeks later, Marcus stood in the lobby of a renovated warehouse that would house Horizon Technologies. Beside him, Lily bounced excitedly, admiring the colorful murals and open workspace. Daddy, is this really where you're going to work? She asked, eyes wide. It is, sweetheart, he answered, still hardly believing it himself. And I get to come visit sometimes? Miss Harrington insisted on it, Marcus said, smiling at the memory of Elise's face when he had mentioned his childcare concerns. She had immediately suggested creating an on-site children's area for employees' kids. Speaking of, came Elise's voice as she approached them, I was hoping my favorite consultant would be here today. Lily giggled. At their first meeting, Elise had solemnly asked for Lily's opinion on the office colors, treating the 6-year-old's suggestions with the same seriousness she gave to professional designers. I like the purple walls, Lily declared. And the fish tank. Excellent choices, Elise agreed, winking at Marcus. Your dad made some excellent choices too. The team he hired starts on Monday, and the software platform is already ahead of schedule. As Lily wandered off to examine the fish tank more closely, Elise turned to Marcus. How are you settling into the new apartment? The apartment was actually a townhouse in a good school district, part of the relocation package Elise had insisted on. It's more than we ever dreamed of, Marcus admitted. Lily has her own room with space for all her books. I keep thinking I'll wake up and find out none of this is real. It's real, Elise assured him. And well deserved. Marcus shook his head. I still don't understand why you went to such lengths to find me, to help me. Elise was quiet for a moment, watching Lily press her nose against the fish tank glass. When I was struggling as a single parent, someone gave me a chance that changed my life. They saw something in me worth believing in. She turned to Marcus. Sometimes all it takes is one person willing to see the truth and act on it. I don't know how I'll ever repay you, Marcus said softly. Build this company with me, Elise replied. Make it a place where people are valued for their character as much as their skills. That will be repayment enough. As they stood there, watching Lily's delight at discovering a hiding clownfish, Marcus felt something he hadn't experienced in a long time, peace. The road ahead wouldn't be easy, building a company from the ground up never was, but for the first time since Emma died, he felt like he was exactly where he was meant to be. 6 months later, Horizon Technologies launched its first product to critical acclaim. The team Marcus had assembled worked together seamlessly, creating an inclusive culture that attracted top talent from across the industry. Derek, still at Pinnacle, sent a message of congratulations and a long overdue apology. Marcus, finding forgiveness easier from a place of security, accepted both graciously. One evening, as Marcus was preparing to leave the office, he found Elise standing by the window, looking out at the city lights. "Penny for your thoughts?" he asked, joining her. "I was just thinking about how far we've come," she said. "The company, yes, but you especially." Marcus nodded. "From nearly homeless to technical director in 6 months. It's been quite a journey." "You know," Elise said thoughtfully, "when I saw you standing outside Pinnacle that day, you looked defeated. But there was still something there, a resilience that reminded me of myself years ago." "I was at my lowest point," Marcus admitted. "If you hadn't stopped your car." "But I did," Elise said simply. "And you took the chance offered to you. That's courage, Marcus." They stood in comfortable silence for a moment before Elise spoke again. "Lily mentioned it's pizza and movie night at your place. That sounds like fun." Marcus smiled. "It's our Friday tradition. You're welcome to join us, if you'd like." Lily would be thrilled. Elise hesitated, then nodded. "I'd like that very much." As they walked out together, Marcus reflected on how completely his life had transformed. From the brink of homelessness to a fulfilling career. From isolation to community. From despair to hope. All because someone had seen his worth when he couldn't see it himself. 1 year to the day after Marcus was fired from Pinnacle, Horizon Technologies was acquired by a major tech firm for a sum that made headlines across the industry. As part of the deal, both Marcus and Elise received substantial equity payouts and leadership positions in the parent company. At the celebration party, Elise clinked her glass against Marcus's. "To second chances," she said. "And to the people who give them," Marcus added. Across the room, Lily, now 7 and missing her 2 front teeth, was teaching the chairman of the board how to play a clapping game. Her laughter rang out, bright and clear, a sound that had once been rare but was now commonplace. Later that night, after Lily was asleep, Marcus sat on the balcony of his townhouse, looking at the stars. He thought of Emma, wondering if she had somehow orchestrated this second chance from wherever she was. His phone buzzed with a text from Elise. "Lunch tomorrow to discuss the new project?" Marcus smiled as he typed his reply, "Absolutely. Lily wants to know if you're still coming to her dance recital Saturday." The response came quickly, "Wouldn't miss it for the world." Putting his phone away, Marcus took a deep breath of the night air. The future stretched before him, full of possibilities he couldn't have imagined a year ago. He had learned that rock bottom wasn't the end, sometimes it was just the foundation for something stronger, something better. And sometimes, when you're standing defeated, all it takes is someone to whisper, "Come with me," to change everything. If this story touched your heart, please hit that like button and subscribe to our channel for more inspiring content that reminds us of the power of kindness and second chances. Remember, sometimes our darkest moments lead us to our brightest futures, and sometimes angels come in the form of people who see our worth when we've forgotten it ourselves.